I'm going to reveal to you the secret of getting a flat veneer panel. Hi, I'm Tom Volpe from Volpe Woodworks. I've been supplying exotic and domestic wood veneers to crafters and woodworkers of all levels of experience for the last 25 years. And all that time I've answered countless emails from customers asking, how do I get started with veneering? What are the basics I need to know? Well, that's the purpose of this video. I'm going to show you how to get good results with a bare minimum of tools and materials. In a nutshell, you're sticking this to this with this. You're going to use these and sandwich it in between boards like this. Let me show you how it's done. Let's get started with our project. Here I've selected a fine piece of curly maple, high visual interest. I've marked a piece of 3/8 inch plywood. That's going to act as our substrate, or what we're going to bond the veneer to with the adhesive. I've marked it clearly with a registration mark, an arrow in this case, so that I know I want the veneer panel to be laid out a certain way, so I planned ahead of time. I've also marked the veneer with a registration mark so I know that when those two arrows are aligned, that's exactly where I want the veneer to be. Titebond 2 or any yellow carpenter's glue, any brand's perfectly fine. I find since I do a lot of veneering, I've invested in a brayer. A craft brush works perfectly fine for this to spread the adhesive around, but because this is a minimal tools and materials project, I've just used a piece of scrap cardboard. We're going to use it as a squeegee / blotter to spread the adhesive. Don't really have a hard, fast rule about spreading how much adhesive to put down, but essentially think about pretend you're painting with the glue. You always want a nice, even coat of adhesive. In this case, a creamy yellow color, nice, evenly spaced on the surface. Here I'm using the cardboard as a squeegee / blotter to force the glue down and get it flat, nice, even coat. Beauty behind this is when you're done with the project, you just throw that piece of cardboard away. Whereas the brayer, you got to wash it off, and the paintbrush, you got to wash it off. Just ensure you have 100% coverage, no dry spots, no dull spots. You want adhesive 100% spread around. Because I've already know where I want my veneer to go, I planned ahead of time. In this case, I limed those inked arrows. Using finger pressure, I'm forcing the veneer down into the adhesive so I can ensure that I have a good bond or 100% bond with the substrate underneath. I have a damp white paper towel handy so that can clean up any glue that might spill onto the surface. You want to make sure that you get it off now. It's a lot easier to clean it up so that when it's wet like this, you don't want to have any glue dry to the surface. It might interfere with the top coat finish or a stain if you happen to want to apply that. Now that we have the veneer stuck down at the substrate, it's getting ready to put it inside the platens. Here I'm covering it with a sheet of waxed paper. The waxed paper will act as a barrier for any glue that does seep up from underneath. It's going to bleed through. Some veneers are more porous than others. Oak being a very porous veneer. Maple, it's a closed pore wood, so you don't have to worry about so much with that. And we're going to take our panel and lay it in between the platens, the lower platen. Remember we had the bottom platen. And because, again, this is a budget project, these pieces of wood, actually, the wood that's actually acting as my platen are taken out of my cabinets. I took the dishes off of it and kind of use it as a quick and easy flat surface to make this platen. I actually have a lot better materials for this myself, but I do this quite a bit. So, but I'm trying to demonstrate what you can use if you're just a one-time only veneer project. You can grab the kitchen cabinet boards out there. They're pretty flat and stable. Perfect for this type of project. I like F body clamps and C body clamps, and they seem to perform the best. And guess what? This is the secret. Pay attention to this. This is the secret to a flat veneer panel. Clamping. Clamping is the secret. I cannot stress that enough. Proper clamping. In this case, I'm spreading the clamping pressure about every 4 to 6 inches apart. Here I'm giving a good torque to ensure that I have good even pressure. This is the key. This is the secret to a flat veneer panel right here. I'm demonstrating it. So you don't have to watch the rest of the video if you want, but I wish you did. 1 hour later, or longer, preferably overnight, but it would be beneficial to let it go a minimum of an hour. You want that glue to be nice and set up. Clamping, again, is the key to this. You want to ensure that you have enough clamps before you even start the project. I can't stress that enough. A lot of woodworkers have them, so if you have a buddy that does woodworking, I'm sure you could probably borrow some from them. They're not that expensive. They're about, I guess, about $6 to $8 for the smaller size ones like this. Here I'm taking it out of the platens, and it was successful. I'm inspecting it. In this case, I got a good flat panel. The adhesive, no large globs of glue squeeze out. I actually have, it's not hard to tell from the video, but you can actually, there is actually good bonding all the way out to the outer edge. I like a safety razor blade to cut the veneer. You can use a regular craft blade, or in this case, a fancy veneer saw. You may not have that. It's a specialty tool. I barely even use mine. 99% of everything I do with that little safety razor blade. I got a whole box of them, 100 of them for like $6. Just make several light passes. You want to ensure that you sever the wood fibers cleanly without a lot of tearing or forcing on there. You don't want to ruin your panel by just causing the corners to be pulled off. There's not a lot of fibers interlocking on the outer corner, so you want to be careful at the very outer edges. So you want to sever those wood fibers nice and easy. This is side A. This is a successful veneer panel. It's nice and flat. But again, to ensure that we have a flat veneer panel, we're going to do both sides. It's called a balance or a backer veneer. So we're going to repeat the process again with another piece of curly maple. Similar as before, I want to mark where the direction that I want the veneer to be, in this case, the figure of the veneer to go in that certain direction. I'm planning ahead. The glue's not even open at this point. We're going to repeat just like we did before. You could actually do both steps at the same time if you're knowledgeable and have some experience. But again, this is a basic veneering techniques video, bare minimum. So I recommend you do one side only and then do the other, because it's a little harder to work with both sides of veneer at the same time. We're just going to repeat like we did the other, the face side, or the side that the side that you're seeing, okay, for your project is called the face side. That's where that's just essentially a veneer vernacular term, whatever it's called, a face side. You can have a reverse side and the face side, or the glue side. So in this case, we're doing a balance veneer. We want the balance veneer or a backer veneer. It's usually a lesser quality veneer. So if it's not to be seen for your project, you can use any old, inexpensive veneer. Thing is, it just has to be there. So it doesn't have to be the same species. It's a good idea to have it as the same thickness. So my veneers typically are the 1/42 thickness veneers. It does help to balance the panel. It's thing with the an issue with the moisture transferring from one side of the panel to the other. You want to have it so that it goes even on both sides. Otherwise, you get a warped panel. Again, this is a flat veneer panel is what you want to ultimately end up with, especially something as thin as 3/8 of an inch. It will warp within a day, and it's that critical to have a balanced or a backer veneer applied to your veneer. So if you do happen to purchase veneers from me in the future, I do sell backer veneers on my eBay store, Thin Wood and Old Tools. But they are cosmetically damaged veneer, so it's usually for a project that you don't see the veneer. Then we're going to return the return the project back into the platens, lower platen. Put the wax paper back on top. Replace it with the upper platen. And again, placing our clamps the way we've done before. One thing I didn't mention on the first side of this, the first one, is the adhesive itself is rather slippery. And you might find out that as you're putting these clamps down that your veneer will actually slip out of place from underneath the substrate. You want to keep in mind that that's just you don't want to get all the way to this point here and find out that you're an hour after you've clamped it up that your veneer actually moved on you. So it's a good idea to check it. In this case, this one's pretty easy to see visually on with anything that's showing up on the outside. But again, this is just a demonstration project. This may seem like it's overkill with the amount of clamps, but that's pretty much what you want. You want to have about every 4 to 6 inches of clamping pressure. Again, clamping is the key to a flat veneer panel. Can't stress that enough. So whatever you can do, get enough clamps before you can even start your project. Again, wait another hour or longer, preferably overnight, to make sure the adhesive is fully cured. And again, the big reveal. Ah, another successful veneer job. Nice flat panel. Here I'm inspecting it for the glue to make sure that the outer edges are, got a nice glue or glued up to the outer edge. Gonna sever off the excess, trim it to size. It makes no difference whether you glue up a really large piece of plywood and then trim your project to size after trim your size after you get the veneer on, or you actually cut your substrate to the exact size you want and then put your veneer onto it at that point. It makes no difference. Here I'm inspecting it again. I like this panel so much, I decided to, even though this was a demonstration piece, I liked it so much I'm actually going to use it in a future project. Here's an example of what I do. It's going to actually be the visual interest on a box project. It's going to fit in that groove that I cut in the side of that panel, that side of that box. Okay, a quick tool review. Real quick, the adhesive, Type Bond 2 or any brand PVA yellow glue works perfectly fine. I prefer safety razors to cut the veneer to size. Clamps, C-body, F-body, the old-fashioned screw-type clamps, the quick adjust release clamps, some wax paper, and 2 pieces of wood to act as your top and bottom platen. I'm just inspecting how well this actually turned out. Got good flat, good bonding all the way to the outer edge. That's what you want to see. That was a successful veneer panel. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button. Consider subscribing to my channel. Really would help a lot. If you have any questions about any of the processes you've seen being demonstrated, please reach out to me by email at tom@volpewoodworks.com. And I have probably about 90 different species of veneer available on my 4 different selling venues. eBay as seller, thin wood and old tools. My Amazon, on Amazon as Volpe Woodworks, on Etsy as Volpe Woodworks, and of course my website, volpewoodworks.com. Thank you very much.